Everybody, it's Xilicks here. Welcome to week 2 of the Elysian League. If you'd like to skip to the battle, click the annotation on screen now. If you'd like to continue watching for the team builder, then stick around. So checking out, we are going against Team Aqua's A team this time. They have drafted Raiko. A good special attacker, can set up, can have sub, can just volt switch around. Greninja, Battle Bond, obviously a serious threat. Delmise, a bit of a bulkier mon, kind of in the middle, pretty slow. Mesprit, utility, rocks, knockoff, could do some decent damage. It's pretty versatile. Audino, not too worried about it, just really bulky. Landorus Incarnate, huge special attacking threat, can even possibly be physical. Cobalion, a bit of utility, bit of a physical threat. Forges, huge special wall, can be a bit of a physical wall. Armaldo, which is also kind of utility. He has a lot of ways to set up rocks. And then Dragalge, which is a pretty big special attacker. So leading off the lineup, I'm bringing Snorlax with the immunity ability, holding leftovers. I decided immunity over Thick Fat because he doesn't really have any abusers of fire or ice. There could be hidden power ices thrown around, potentially even hidden power fire. However, I'm not too worried about that, and Snorlax is going to be able to take those hits anyways without the Thick Fat. So I have the immunity in case he tries to poison me with any of his bulkier mons. Then, sorry about that. Move-wise, I'm running Body Slam, Earthquake, Ice Punch, Amnesia. The Body Slam is just general stab and can get pairs on a few things. The Earthquake is for things like the Cobalion, the Dragalge. Then we have Ice Punch for primarily the Lando, also hits the Delmise, and also hits the Dragalge, although I'd probably go for Earthquake, but you never know with switches and stuff. And then Amnesia to boost our special defense, just because he does have all those special attackers. I'm running max HP to get that nice 500 plus HP, a little bit in attack, a lot in defense, and then a careful nature to boost our special defense, just that extra bit more. I'm bringing Hippowdon. Hippowdon is a bit of a mixed wall, primarily physical though, impish nature. We have the leftovers in the sand stream. I'm actually bringing sand this time with Excadrill, so rocking the Earthquake. Then Slack Off for recovery, Toxic to wear down some of those walls, and Whirlwind to try to stop any potential setup with a decent EV spread. This is pretty standard. I didn't really know what to bring this week, so I just ran a standard EV spread. There weren't any specific attacks I felt like I had to EV for. Next up, I have Excadrill with the Sand Rush ability. With this ability, we're going to be outspeeding, everything in sand. We have the Life Orb and Swords Dance. If we can get a Swords Dance up, we could sweep. It's not guaranteed sweep, but if some of his walls get weakened, we're gonna sweep. I mean, that's that's just how it is. But obviously, we have to be in a pretty nice position for that. We have to be careful what we sacrifice to the Lando and the Greninja and the Raiko and the Dragalge. So, a couple things we got to be worrying about. But, I think we can pull through if we can get this guy in there. We just got to punch those holes first. Next up, I'm bringing Tangrowth again, Assault Vest. I absolutely love this set. I'm running Giga Drain over Leaf Storm just to have a bit of recovery while I'm in battle. Just because I feel like there are going to be times where I have to stay in and I can't switch out for Regenerator. And I'm okay with sacrificing damage for recovery. I'm also running the Knockoff to get rid of some pesky items, the Earthquake as a general attacking move, and the Sludge Bomb for things like the Forges. And now I'm running the Sassy Nature again to up my special defense. Running quite a bit of special defense this week with the Assault Vest, and obviously max HP. The rest just thrown into the defense stat. I'm running Thundurus again, this time with Life Orb. Now, I originally had another move in this 4th slot. I might still change this before the battle. I might run Agility. I might run Nasty Plot even. But this setup hits just about everything on his team for at least neutral. Unless I'm missing something, which I don't think I am. We're running near max speed to outspeed the Cobalion, max speed Cobalion. Full and special attack. The rest in HP with a timid nature. I might still, as I said, change this final move to something, but if I do, you'll see that in the battle. I still haven't fully decided. Next up, I have Savali Dark. Now, this was a suggestion from one of the guys on Team Rocket, and I'm running Adamant Nature full attack with enough speed to outspeed everything on his team, excluding Scarfers, if I get a Flame Charge up. Now, the reason I'm running Flame Charge is I want to be able to outspeed the Greninja and the Landorus and then go for a parting shot. So, in theory, what would happen is I either knock something out with my Savali, or maybe I predict him to switch, and what I can do is I can go for the Flame Charge to get that up speed, and then I'm faster than everything that doesn't have a Choice Scarf. I can go for the parting shot to get right on out of there and drop that special attack down. So if he goes into the Raikou, if he goes into the Greninja, if he goes into the Landorus Incarnate, I can outspeed, drop the special attack, get out of there and go into a wall of my choice. I'm bringing 3 walls because he has a lot of threats here. So that's my team. Again, there may be a few slight changes before the battle, particularly the Thundurus, maybe even the Hippowdon as well. I've also considered bringing Rapid Spin just because he has so many ways to get rocks up, but rocks honestly don't affect my team too poorly here. The only thing that they're really hitting is Thundurus, and I mean, I don't know. I might still consider it. I'm not sure yet. And I've also considered putting rocks on the Hippowdon, but I'm not sure what move I'd get rid of. Maybe Toxic. So, yeah. But again, any changes that'll be made will be seen before the battle, which is, for you guys, about to start now, and for me, gonna start who knows when. So I'll see you guys then. Alright, before we start the battle, I just want to point out that I changed the Savali set. It's now running the Darkium Z and the normal type. I messed it up in the team builder. I was going for this originally, but I misunderstood a few things. So now it's set and good to go. So playing the battle, I decided to lead off with Hippowdon. I figured he'd lead Mesprit. Now, I just want to go for the Toxic to gauge what he's going to do, and he goes for the Rain Dance. Then he sets up the Stealth Rock as I go for Whirlwind. It pulls out the Cobalion. Now, I could have predicted him to go back into Mesprit. Or, sorry. Here, I predicted him to switch into something else, but I went for the Toxic. Now, I could have predicted the Mesprit and went into something else anyways, but here, I switched into the Tangrowth, predicting like a Grass Knot, which he did actually have. I was a bit surprised. Then I decided to go for the knockoff, I believe, as he goes for the U-turn. He U-turns into his Delmise, and the knockoff actually does a decent amount. Now, I switch into my Snorlax, actually predicting, like, some ghost thing, but he goes for Toxic, and my immunity ends up absorbing that, so that was nice. He goes for the Anchor Shot to keep me in battle. Now, I'm not too worried about this. I go for the Ice Punch just to see what kind of spread he is. The 28% allows me to know that he's a little bit bulky, but not too bulky. I go for the Amnesia because I know I can live a few more, and that will allow me to take special hits if he decides to switch out. Now, I go for another Ice Punch. It knocks him down pretty low as he goes for the rest. Now, this is actually better for me, in my opinion, because it allows me to get more Leftovers recovery as well as still damaging him, and it's going to make it so that he can't attack for a few more turns. Now, he goes into the Cobalion here. I could have Earthquaked. Oh, well. And here's where I make a really bad play. Now, I could have switched out, but I was on, like, switching out was so obvious. I thought that maybe he would just Volt Switch or try and set up or something. And he doesn't, and I lose my Snorlax very early on. Then I make another semi-bad play, and I go for the Earthquake with the Hippowdon. Now, really, I couldn't have touched the Mesprit anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. He goes for the Grass Knot on my Savali, doing a decent amount of damage. Again, I can see by the spread so far that this Mesprit's pretty physically bulky. Now, I go for the Flame Charge because I'm predicting him to switch out, which he actually does with the U-turn. I thought he'd switch out in a different manner. He goes on the Cobalion. There's really nothing I can do here, so I just regular Parting Shot to drop the attack and special attack, and he close combats. Now, at this point, I'm guaranteed to knock him out with, like, Earthquake or whatever, but I believe I go for a knockoff. Yeah. because I was predicting him to switch out, and if he didn't, the knockoff would have done a lot, and the justified boost wouldn't have mattered since he was already down a bit on HP. He is going to decide to get that justified boost, though, after knocking off the Delmise a few times. Now, this isn't really too game-changing because my Hippowdon can eat the hits pretty well. He chooses the correct play and goes for the Toxic, though. Now, here I think is where I could have won the game if I played it slightly differently. Now, I go for the Shadow Claw, and it almost knocks him out. So here's the thing. I need the Sandstorm to outspeed a lot of his mons, right? On my Excadrill. I also need the Swords Dance to knock out some of his mons. So my mindset right now is I need to get a Swords Dance up, and I need to be under Sand with 3 turns left, and I can win the battle, right? And then the Greninja comes in. I know I can take a hit with my Hippowdon. I take it. And then I have to basically figure out what to sack. So I sack my Silvally, and here I make a totally awful play. Now, I knew I could have lived the Water Shuriken, given he only hit twice. Should I have stayed in? No, I shouldn't. I should have gone into Tangrowth. Or at least, like, I don't know. It was just a bad play all around. And the Water Shuriken, it makes it so I just can't do anything against this team. And I lose the Excadrill, and at this point I lost. There's no way I can win. Because I don't have setup on my Thundurus. I can't win. My Thundurus is going to get worn down by the rocks and the Life Orb. The game's over. At this point, though, I'm like, okay, I don't want to get 6-0'd. So let's do something. So I sack the Hippowdon to get Regenerator. I then go into the Tangrowth. This thing's Assault Vest has been knocked off. So I can go for the Earthquake and knock it out with Sandstorm, which is nice. I'm down to 1%, so I pretty much have to switch out if I want to get another knockout here. He goes for close combat against my Thundurus. Now, what I didn't think about was the Rocks damage here would put me, or sorry, the Life Orb damage would put me in range of Rocks. I could have potentially gotten another knockout had it not been like that. But I go in the Tangrowth, I died a Sludge Wave, and I go in Thundurus and die to Rocks. Where could I have played better? I should not have sacked Snorlax, because had I kept the Snorlax alive, I could have dealt with the Greninja better. And I definitely should not have sacked the Excadrill. I don't know why I was thinking the Water Shuriken would have done a bit less. I don't know. I should have switched out. Had I had the Snorlax, the battle would have gone differently. I think it would have been a very long battle, though, if I kept the Snorlax alive. Because whenever the Greninja was first in, it went for the Ice Beam on the Hippowdon. I could have gone to the Snorlax, and he probably wouldn't have even made that play just because I still had the Snorlax around. And he would have preserved his Cobalion a bit more. And really what I needed to do was I needed to keep the Snorlax alive, I needed to keep the Excadrill alive, I needed to get rid of the Mesprit so it couldn't rain dance away the sand. I needed to get rid of the Delmise, which was already down to like 6% or whatever. And at that point, I could have won with Excadrill with Snorlax. Because anytime the Greninja came out, I could have gone to Snorlax. Anytime, like, once the Snorlax was dead, Excadrill swept with +2. Or a little bit of damage on the Landorus, which I could have gotten with Thundurus. So, yeah, I played poorly towards the end. I also feel that the draft I have is bad. Now, keep in mind, I didn't actually draft these mons. The way this works is, if you didn't watch the original video, it's the first one in the playlist. Playlist is linked in the description. The first video basically says, like, this isn't my draft, it's just I'm playing for a team. And I would not have drafted a lot of these mons. I was personally, like, against things like Silvally, but they got drafted anyways. And I don't know, it's just like I only have one threat, which is Excadrill. And to some degree Thundurus, but I view Thundurus as more utility. So whenever my opponent is preparing for me, they only have to prepare for Excadrill, where I have to prepare for, like, I mean, look at his team, you know. Here, I can put it up again. Like Raikou, Greninja, Landorus Incarnate, Dragalge, Mesprit. It's like all these threats I have to prepare for, and they only have to prepare for one. You know, so it is what it is. We're probably gonna make changes come week 3 because that's the first week that we can change things. But yeah, I will see you guys next week, hopefully with a win. I'm tired of losing. I don't like losing, and I am a little bitter about losing the first week because there was a lot of hacks, and losing this week's because I felt like my draft just didn't compare. Obviously, I recognize the misplays I made this week though, and yeah, that's that. So I'll see you guys next time. Okay, thanks, bye.